Okay. So last day we have discussed about the ambiguity about the production rules of a context-free grammar, and we have seen that if we have two different derivation tree for a particular grammar, there is a possibility we can get different result for the same input combination, and that is why actually ambiguous grammar is not accepted by any compiler. Now we will start with the closure property of a context-free language. As we know that closure property means that if we have two context free language and if we apply that uh, some mathematical logic, then the new language that will be generated, whether that is context free, I mean whether that is also context free or not, depends on that this closure property come. For example, we say that a context-free language is closed under union, concatenation, and clean closure. What does it mean? It means that if we have two context-free language and if we do a union between the languages, we all know the language is a set that we have seen. So it's a very trivial that we can do an union between two sets. That means if we do a union between two context-free language, then the resultant language will remain context free, and this property is same for concatenation operation and also closure operation. But we can prove it that it's not closed under intersection and complement. That means if we have two context free language and if we do an intersection between those two sets, the resultant language may not be context free, or maybe, but there is no guarantee that it will be context free. Since there is no guarantee, that is why we can say that the context free language is not closed under these two operations, these two set operations. Now, as a example, we can discuss about the how we can prove in a very intuitive way. You see, let's start with the closure property for the union operation. You see, suppose these are the two languages. Just what we have seen. Two languages, that means obviously two different grammar, two different production rules, two different, maybe two different alphabets, two different start symbol, everything may be different. I mean, assume that everything are different and two different language. Now the question is that if we do a union between these two language, then whether that is context free or not. Assume that the new language that will be generated looks something like this. Looks something like this. So this is the new language that is generated, a new grammar with the new production rules, start symbols, non-terminals and alphabets and all. Okay. So whether this language is context free, that is the question. Now you see, we are claiming that the L dash language is also context free, and how we can prove this? We can say we can assume that, you see, we are doing this union operation, means if we have two different set having two different set elements, I can make a new set having an union between all the having union between the sets. That means suppose that set S1 contain A, B, and I can have a set S2 containing C and D. So I can make union of these two, create a set S double S dash, which can be where A, B, C, D all can be possible, right? Because this S dash is nothing but S1 union S2. That mean either from S1 or from S2 it will come, right? So that means here also I can say that I have a set of non-terminals, two different set of non-terminals present here, and I can make them, make them in another set where I'm doing an union between those non-terminals. So that means all the non-terminals coming in the scenario, which is represented by this V dash. In a similar way, since alphabet sigma 1 and sigma 2 is also a set, I can do a union between them. And again, the production rules is also a set, set of production rules that is represented by P1 and P2 for the language L1 and L2 respectively. I can again make a union between the sets P1 and P2 and represented as P dash. Now I can say that, ultimately, the after union of these two language, the language that is generated is basically what? Is basically either the set of L1 or will be the set of L2. That means, suppose there is a machine M1 which accepts language L1, and there is another machine M2 which accepts language L2. What I require? I require to find a new machine which is able to accept L1 as well as L2, both, right? And if I want to do this, what at the very beginning, what actually you have to do, you have to find, is it possible to design a grammar or not, right? Because machine will follow the rule of the grammar. And then you see, I can say that I am creating a new start symbol S dash, which is represented by S1 or S2. That is an additional production rule, you see. So this S dash is not actually, obviously for L1 I have a start symbol S1, for L2 I have a start symbol S2, and they are totally different. Now what I am doing S dash can be rewritten as either S1 or S2. Now what does it mean? You see, you are saying that from S dash either you will go to S1 side or you will start with S2. If I assume that some string which is actually from L1 set, L1 language, that means from S1, basically you will take path of S1, and from S1 you can ultimately reach to the end, which can accept a string belongs to L1. And if you find there is a string, suppose the string is from somehow from L2, and how this modified grammar can accept this, but just by from S dash I will go through the direction of S2, and through the direction of S2 somehow I will go to the reach, and I will find basically the string L2, right? So that means either of this S1 and S2 path I will take. Now which path I will take, it depends upon the string naturally, and this production rules is a valid production rule in a context free language, because context free language say that it's basically any combination of terminal and non-terminal. So that means in the right hand side only one non-terminal is accepted, and that I have done. This OR means actually the common LHS for both production rule. That's why I have written this one. But if you make them clear, in a distinctly, if you want to define them, you can say that S dash will be S1, or also S dash can be equal to S2. And you see, suddenly if if from S dash if you go to S1, that means basically you are actually taking the direction of this L1 language, right? And if you take the direction of S2, you are taking direction of this L2 language. So as a whole, there is a possibility to accept any language belongs to L1 or L2 through this production rule. That means the language that is generated must be the combination of the language L1 and L2. Combination means the union of. So I can design a correct set of, a possible set of non-terminals, alphabets, production rules, set of production rules, and the start symbol in this regard. And if it is possible, that means obviously the newly created language is regular, sorry, context free, and hence you can prove it. In a similar way, you see, if you want to prove that whether the language is, just like what actually you can say from the machine point of view. Let's draw a picture over here. I hope you will understand. From the machine point of view, I can say that let's take a situation like this. We have a sorry, we have suppose a machine M1. Okay, this is machine M1 which starts with S1 and by some set of transition change of the transition state, it finally reach to some final terminal. This is representing M1 which accepts language L1. Okay, in a similar way we can design a, there must have a machine for M2 which accepts a language L2. Here the initial sim state is S2, as we have seen, S2, right? And by some change of the state, it will finally reach to some terminal. So they individually exist. What I want to actually combine them, so that I want to see whether there is a common machine which can accept both from L1 or L2. That is a union. So you can see I'm creating a new state S dash through which you are actually going without consuming any symbol, something like this, either this or this. So that means depends on the string that you have to accept. You can either take this, from S dash, you can either enter within this machine or enter within this machine, and then either you will reach to this particular terminal or to this terminal. But if I want that, I must have a common terminal, common final state. Terminal means common final state. What I can do, I can create a new common final state. From here again I will make a path with epsilon. That means without consuming any symbol, by hook or crook, if you are able to reach to one of this final state of M1 or M2 without consuming any symbol, you can reach to the final state of this. So this is the actual final state in the modified machine, and you see this is what you can say that as a whole, that machine that we are having right now, this one. So this is a machine. Now you can say a modified machine M dash which can accept a language L dash which is basically L1 union L2, because either L1 or L2 can be accepted, and that is what actually defined over here. Now if I go for uh, checking whether a context free language is closed under concatenation or not. Concatenation mean one after another, something like that, right? So that means if I have a same set of L1 and L2, what I want, my intention is to find out whether they are, I mean, obviously, union operation will not be there. I need a concatenation operation. Anyway, so forget about this particular uh, symbol over here. Okay, we are discussing concatenation operation, not union operation. Anyway, so after concatenation of the two language, is it possible to find a language which can basically accept the concatenated version of L1 and L2? And what does it mean? It means that if I consider there is a string 110 is belongs to L1, and there is another string say 001 belongs to L2, the concatenation L dash will be something like maybe L1 followed by L2. That means 110 then 001, something like this. Now whether I can accept by some language L dash or not, that we have to find out, because I'm defining L dash in this way, in a similar way, with the similar set of symbols. Question is that how we can actually define those V dash, sigma dash, P dash and S dash. Depends on that this will work. And how, you see, I can again consider that basically they are combination. I mean, they obviously has to be union. All the symbols must be there which is present in L1 and L2. There is no doubt about this. I'm sorry. So there is no doubt about this point, that uh, that the non-terminals, the set of non-terminals, the set of alphabet, symbols, and the set of production rules must be present in the new language L dash. Only difference will work in S dash, right? So how I can define this S dash? You see, I can say that S dash means S1 followed by S2. So S1 followed by S2 mean you are actually, by default, you are actually, you mean that somehow the from S dash you have to go through S1 and you have to go through S2 both. Then only you can find, you can accept the language, accept the string. Now you see, since S is followed by S2, that means you cannot ignore S2 after S1, right? And here is the tricks. So from the machine point of view, if you see, what you can say, you can say that okay, that means I have a machine M1 here. Okay, I have a machine M1 which start by S1, and by some change of the state it reach to the final state. That we know. This is M1 which is accepting language L1. Similarly, I have one more machine M2 which is accepting the language L2, where it starts from S2 and by some change of state ultimately reach to the final state. Now you see, as we know that S1 is followed by S2, that means if I want to design a new machine that can accept this language L dash, That means what I can say, that I can connect this one with an epsilon. What does it mean? It means that if you start journey from S1 and somehow able to reach to the final state, then I will give you an opportunity to start from S2 again and reach to the final state. And what will happen as a result? If this string is a concatenated string of L1 and L2, then with the help of this epsilon symbol, it must reach to the terminal state, I mean the final state of this M2, right? So that means as a whole, I can say that this is the new machine, say M dash, which is accepting language L dash, which is basically a concatenation of these two machines. And this is possible, right? I can easily do this. Just connecting this epsilon symbol, which is a valid symbol in context-free grammar. That means in this way actually we can say that a context-free language is also closed under concatenation. A similar thing from, almost similar thing from clean closure. Again, the same situation arises. Again, I mean, I have a mistake again in a similar way, that obviously this is not a union operation. So for timing, you can forget about this part. Okay. You forget about this part. And L dash equal to the new modified language, this type of grammar and all. And similarly, this is also remains same, as we have seen that basically we have realized one thing, that whatever the set operation may be, the difference lies on the start symbol. How you are defining your new start symbol, which is basically some combination of the other two start symbol of L1 and L2. In case of union, we have seen that S1 or S2. In case of concatenation, we have seen S1 followed by S2. And since it is clean closure, and clean closure means any combination, if I want to do this, you see there is only one way. I can do something like this. I can put S dash to S1 S dash, or maybe S2 S dash. Any one of this. Actually, clean closure of this L1 and L2 is not possible. The reason is that closure is a unary operation, right? So L dash can be closure of this L1, or can be closure of L2, or can be closure of some union or concatenation operation over L1 and L2. Not as a directly L1 closure of L1 and as well as closure of L2 individually, right? So there is one possibility, you can say S dash equal to S1 S dash, or you can say that S dash to S2 S dash. This S dash symbol is just given so that you can recur this same right hand side again and again. Something like, you started from S dash, you have given S1 S dash. Since this S dash is present, you have a possibility you can go for this H1 S dash again, and so on. So that means this S1, as many times I require, I can produce, depends on using this S dash to S1 S dash. How many times you are using? And this is actually, you can say it's basically a S1 star. right? Because S1 is recurring many times. Obviously, at some point of time S dash will end, which will end up with some terminal that is not expressed over here to minimize the complexity. Just the logic is shown over here. Now this S1 star is possible, right? Similarly, using this set of production rules, S2 stars is also possible. But one thing is clear, that either it will be S1 star or S2 star, not both at a time. Right. Now you can have some combination of this L1 and L2 also. I mean, for example, you can say that some combination of S1, then some combination of S2, then some combination of S1 again, and so on. So that is actually any combination of S1 and S2. That means any combination of uh, the in the string of the language L1 and L2, and in this way actually you can prove for a clean closure. So these are the three examples we have discussed, which is showing that how we can say that, and why we are saying that union, concatenation and clean closure are three set operations which are closed under. They're closed. They are. Contextual language is closed under those three union. Those three set operations.